Hi, this is Kevin from Naples, Florida, and today we're going to do a video on the installation of a mud motor kit on this 14-foot John boat. Okay, I got two prior videos out on one, just the John boat, so you want to check out that video, and then number two, the purchase of all the mud motor kit and the motor and everything about that, so you want to check out that video. And then today we're going to talk about the actual installation, and we're going to show you what we did to install this Predator motor, which has been camo painted. They come in red, but we camo painted it. All right. And then we got a DIY mud motor kit from DIY Mud Motors out of Palmetto, Florida. And so we're going to put the engine in the kit all together as one and show you how that worked out. Okay, first thing we're going to do is take this engine mounting bracket and the 4 bolts, washers, and nuts, and it's just going to bolt right up to here like this. All right, and these bolts don't go through the top, they go through the bottom like this. Then we're going to use a flat washer, locking washer, and nut. And then just do that same procedure on all 4 nuts and bolts. Okay, then we got a 17mm socket, 17mm open end. You're just going to tighten these all down. Okay, now we're going to pull the cord to the keyway is facing up. All right, next you want to back out these 3 Allen wrench screws. Okay, now you're going to get some of this anti-seize lubricant, and you're going to put it all over the shaft. Okay, next we're going to put the keyway in. That's this little piece of metal. It slides right in that notch on that shaft. Okay, next you're going to put this piece right here. It's going to go on there. You can see it has a little notch there, and it's going to go right over that keyway that you just installed. Get it lined up with that keyway, and then you're going to shove that thing on there as far as it'll go. There you go. Okay, now you're going to tighten those set screws with this Allen wrench. Okay, next you're going to get this coupler housing and these 2 wing nuts. And make sure you have these 4 bolts and washers. Okay, next we're going to take this housing here. We're going to fill this up with 2/3 full of grease. Okay, so we filled this thing up full of grease, packed it in there. That step's done. Okay, that's to prevent water from going up the engine shaft and into the engine there. That's what this grease does when it's packed in here. Okay, next thing you're going to do is just shove that thing right on there, and then you'll see your little threaded bolt holes. You're going to line them up, and you're going to put that on with these little black bolts that it came with. Okay, next thing you're going to do is just tighten these down, and once it's all seated on there, and you're going to do like an X pattern, like this one, that one, and the other one. Okay, so now we're going to measure the width of this boat, and we are going to find the center, which it would be 25 1/4. We're going to go ahead and mark it, and that way we're ready to center up our engine bracket. Okay, so you're going to set your transom bracket on there, and these wing nuts are on the inside, this grease fitting's on the outside. You're centered up, and you're going to clamp it down. Okay, once these are tight, you're going to take this nut back here, and you're going to tighten it up against there, and then you're going to take a number 21 open end wrench, and you're going to tighten them up on both sides. Okay, next you're going to pull that cotter pin out and take that nut off. Get ready to mount this motor on your transom bracket. Okay, now that we set the engine on there, we're just going to put on our flat washer and our nut and then our cotter pin. Okay, so the weight of this motor dry is about 80 to 90 pounds. With your, also you got your little brackets and mounting gear. So the weight of a 15 horsepower Mercury outboard is about 110. And so you're pretty much compatible for the weight being equal for a 15 horsepower mud motor. And if you look at this right here, it says you can't have any more than 345 pounds of persons and gear. But if you figure the motor in, I think it says 580 right there. So 580 minus 345 is about 235 pounds. So you could have 235 pounds of motor and gas tank and, you know, a battery, whatever. So you're well within your range. And then you can have your 3 persons as long as they don't go over that weight for this boat. Okay, now you're going to get a 14mm ratchet and you're going to back up these bolts right here until so you can put in your steering handle. Okay, next up is putting this tiller handle in here. You see there's a hole right there, and that's going to line up with this other hole. But that tiller handle is just going to go right in there. Just make sure you loosen up your bolts first, and then it's just going to slide right in there. Okay, we're going to shove this shaft in here now. We're going to turn it till this keyway lines up with a notch in this motor. Okay, if you pull on your pull rope and this turns, then you know that's good. You want to make sure this is nice and straight. And if there's no play in here, then it's on all the way. Okay, we're going to put one wing nut in on each side as they're threaded on opposite sides. Just like this, you're going to tighten those up. So you're going to have one on each side. Okay, now we're working on throttle control. You want to take that Allen wrench in there and loosen that up. All right, now we're going to put this throttle cable through this bottom slanted hole here until it comes out the other end of the steering handle. Okay, then we're going to pull this all the way through like this. Next thing you want to do is get an open end wrench and a Phillips head screwdriver and loosen up this right here. Okay, you want to back up that screw enough where you can see light through the hole because that's where your throttle cable is going to go through. Okay, now with your Phillips screwdriver, you're going to loosen up this screw right here. Okay, now you're going to wrap this throttle cable around the front and you're going to put it through these holes here in the engine. Okay, now with a Phillips head screwdriver, you're going to tighten this down. All right, now for the throttle control, you want to line these two things up just like you see it. Okay, now we're going to take this throttle lever and slide it right up there like that. Okay, you want to make sure this black is shoved all the way up in here as far as it goes. And I actually took some needle nose here and pulled this cable out backwards. Okay, now that the slack's out, we're going to tighten this back down with your Phillips. Okay, now you want to shove that rubber handle on there just like this. Okay, now you're going to put this throttle control right wherever you want it. You can swing it or adjust it however you want it. We got a little bit of an angle, and then you're going to tighten up your Allen wrench. Okay, you want to make sure that all the slack's out. It's working good. You might need to go down here and loosen up that throttle cable. And also make sure this isn't back around that like this. Make sure it's out front like that. All right, now we're working on this kill switch right here. This switch will shut down the motor if the driver ever gets ejected. It hooks that up to his waist. But you just take this apart like this so it'll slide over the shaft. But first you got to put these two kill switch wires down the shaft. We just taped them together to hold them together when they're sliding down. But it's just going to go through this little angled cut right here until they come out the back. Okay, you got two wires. You got a long one and a short one. The long one's going to go over to the oil sensor. We'll show you that in a minute. And the short one needs to go to somewhere on the engine where you can get a good ground, because this is your ground wire. So we're going to hook it up front on this cover. You don't want to hook it in the back where the main bolts are to your engine or nothing. So you want to hook it, we're going to hook it right on this cover here, and we're going to show you how we're going to do that. Okay, your kit comes with this butt connector here, and you're just going to strip that wire and put that on there and crimp it down. Okay, now you're going to slide it on there and you're going to bolt that down really tight. Okay, we're going to take this kill switch wire, wrap it around here, and it's going to come around to this side of the motor. Okay, now depending on which engine you have, you may hook this up to the oil sensor, or on this particular motor, this Predator, we're going to hook it up to this kill wire right here. Okay, so we cut the kill wire. We left this end on here. Here's your other end. This is the wire that came with the kit. We twisted all these together, and so we spliced all these, then we'll plug that back in, and that should work as your kill wire. Okay, so here you're all spliced together. We're going to start it up and show you how that works after we mount that switch. Now you take this bottom piece and this top piece, push those together around there and clamp it down with your Allen wrench. Okay, we're going to start up the motor now. We're going to test the kill switch. Okay, so this should be clipped to your belt loop when you're driving. That way, if you fall out of the boat or hit something or have a wreck or whatever, that pulls away from your kill switch. This closes and that kills your motor, and that's how you should be operating. Okay, so here's your off switch. This is on, and this is electric start. So when you start it, you want to have it on the on position, off. And then electric start's going to be another whole video on another day, but this is where you would push for your electric start. Okay, now we're going to put on the prop here. You got a little keyway, you got a little notch in your prop. Always grease these because you don't want that knot to come off someday to be able to change it out. So always grease these shafts. Okay, we're going to slide our prop on there like that. Okay, and once you line up your keyway with your notch, you just slide it on. It just goes on that far. And then you got a nut and you got a washer here. You're going to go ahead and tighten those up. Okay, now make sure you grease all these Zerk fittings before you, there you go. Just grease it till it comes out, and then same thing on, let's do this one over here next. And you just plug that on there. Is it coming out? Okay. And that's how we're going to grease. We're going to grease all of these spots here. There it goes. It came out right here. And let's go up here to this one. Always make sure this is greased anytime you're going to go out and use it. Okay, so we just greased this up until it came out this hole right down here. It's a little screw. We just pop that off. All right, we got it running. You can see the propellers down there spinning. And there are no gears on this. When you start it up, that thing spins. So always make sure there's like nobody around. You're totally safe. And so nobody, no dog or child or anybody ever runs through there or next to that. And really should be in the water when it's running. But that's how it went. And that's our stop button right there. So when it starts up, that prop's going to be spinning. So just be aware of that. It's not like a regular boat motor where you put it in gear. It's already in gear. And one more safety feature. Do not start this motor with the propeller in the water. So we're going to affix this to our engine. And we affixed it right here on the airbox cover. All right, so there you have it. That's our whole kit installed, mud motor. We're going to leave these oars in here because if you ever have a problem with your motor and you're out, at least you'll be able to get yourself back. So leaving the oars in, but that's first we did a video on a John boat, then we did a video on the kit. So there's 2 videos. Now we did a video on the installation. There's 3 videos, so you want to make sure you check out all the videos, the John boat, the kit, the installation. And our next video is going to be demonstration out on open water. So you want to make sure you are subscribed to our channel, and so you can see that video and then further videos. We're going to put a little deck on the front. We're going to really customize this boat and make it nice. So make sure you subscribe. We got a lot more videos coming out, and if you like it, please hit the like button. This is Kevin from Naples, Florida.